Welcome to the Undercurrent, your source for grassroots news. I am here with Senator Reid in the Capitol prior to the screening of the Koch Brothers Exposed with Brave New Films. Can you tell us why the Koch brothers feel compelled to spend such large sums of money in our elections? $400 million during the presidential election. It's estimated at $125 million for the midterms this year. Why is that?
They're of course interested in doing everything they can to increase their wealth. This is billionaires versus the middle class. Everything they do is directed toward damaging the middle class, whether it's doing away with all the environmental rules, doing away with all income taxes, doing away with all enforcement. They have an agenda that is really hard to comprehend, including getting rid of Social Security. They are a radical group of, they're not a group, there's just two of them, but they're very radical, and what they're doing is bad for the country. And that's why I believe that we need to do a constitutional amendment to stop the billionaires from trying to take over our country.
So tell us about the constitutional amendment. Why is this important to you now?
It's important to me now because a person's ability to speak shouldn't be based on how much money they have. And that's what the Supreme Court has said. The more money you have, the more free speech you have. And that's why this constitutional amendment, sponsored by a senator from Colorado and one from New Mexico, are really good. It's good legislation because it would bring reality back to the political spectrum. It's not how much money you have, but it's how much ability you have to determine through the ordinary process of speaking out without a lot of money to determine what happens. And what this constitutional amendment would do would allow Congress to set limits on how much could be spent, and even state legislatures could set limits how much should be spent in a state.
So one last question for any Republicans that are watching out there. There's criticism on the right, and the Koch brothers are fighting back against, all of your criticism of them by criticizing Tom Steyer. So can you draw the distinction between a Tom Steyer, what he's doing and why he's doing it, versus why the Koch brothers are spending the amounts of money that they're spending?
Tom Steyer has one interest politically, and that is to recognize and have the American people recognize that climate change is here and we have to do something about it. Look at it. In Nevada, we have fires burning all the time. We just had devastating fires in San Diego, California. The sea levels are rising, and the Koch brothers want to do away with the EPA. Tom Steyer has one issue, that's climate change. The climate is changing.
So that distinction would be Tom Steyer is going after public interests, whereas the Kochs are trying to maintain their profits?
Tom Steyer is interested in an issue dealing with something that every scientist in the world, with a rare exception, recognizes, that global climate change is taking place. What the Koch brothers want to do is make more money. He is not doing that. He's interested in recognizing and educating the American people that we have a problem with climate change and we have to do something about it. For example, Tom Steyer doesn't think we should be taking out of Canada the dirtiest fuel possible, that's tar sands, shipping it clear across the United States, then manufacturing it, that is refining it, and then shipping the oil overseas. What sense does that make? It makes none.
So people over profits. Thank you so much for your work. Good luck tonight at the screening.
Thank you.
I'm Lauren Windsor. We're with Reid. Get pulled in to the Undercurrent.
Undercurrent under the surface makes the mainstream get so nervous. It's time for purpose, for news to serve us, not with propaganda they use to hurt